Naruto! Sasuke!
What is good, everybody? It is your boy Super Saiyan Cab back with another Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker Jutsu breakdown slash test for you guys today. We have an absolute special treat, something I know a lot of people have been waiting for and have been asking for literally since like day one, since I have started this jutsu test, and that is Rasengan going up against Chidori. Now, of course, these are in two different classes, but people really wanted to see these go up against each other because they are still very similar moves in the game, and it's just that iconic match up of Chidori going up against Rasengan. So today we will be seeing which one of these is truly better in Shinobi Strikers. Now, I also want you guys to let me know which one do you guys like in the show more between these two, as well as in the game after you are finished watching this video. Now, one thing that I do want to mention before we actually get into the descriptions of these guys, if you have not seen all the jutsu breakdown slash tests or missed any, be sure to check out the playlist that is down below in the description. I have all the jutsu breakdown slash tests that I've done so far on Shinobi Strikers in that playlist. So again, be sure to check that out down below if you guys have missed any. Now, let's jump straight into the descriptions as we always do with these. Looking at Rasengan first, as you see, it says this jutsu compresses wildly spun up chakra into a ball in one's fist, then launches it towards the target. Upon impact, it will knock the target back by a great deal. Then you look at the stats, it has a 2 power, 2 range with a 13-second cooldown. Now, when you go to look at Chidori, as you guys see right here, Chidori, it says a jutsu where one channels powerful chakra from the body into the hand, then charges towards the target and thrust into it. And then as you see, the power and range are also a 2 and a 2 for this, but the cooldown is 14 seconds. So it does take 1 second more to cool down as opposed to the Rasengan. Now, one other thing that I do want to mention again one more time, just so you guys know, when it comes to these jutsu breakdowns and tests and things of that nature, you are not getting your information from someone who is not good at the game. As you see, my stats are very high tier, probably some of the better stats that you will actually see in Shinobi Striker for the most part, and these are my lower stats between the two consoles on PS4. Now, I know my last 10 is pretty bad, but them randoms have really been getting to me. As you see, my KD is still pretty decent for those last 10 anyway, even though the randoms really messed up my win percentage. But just wanted to show you guys this really quick again, so you guys know that the information I'm giving you is very accurate, and I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to these jutsu and Shinobi Striker in general. But let's jump straight into this jutsu breakdown slash test between Chidori and Rasengan, and be sure to smash that like button if you guys do enjoy or if it helps you out, because that helps your boy out. Alright, y'all, getting this jutsu breakdown slash test started. The first one we're going to be taking a look at is Chidori. Now, as you see, the basic use of this move, or how it actually works, is just like the description says. You charge the lightning style chakra in your hand and then thrust forward at your opponent. Now, the next thing we're really going to be taking a look at is the range, guys. The range of this move is decent, not the best though, considering it is a range type move, and when you do charge it, the move does not gain any extra range or anything like that. As you see, it is very similar to an attack type move when you charge it, in the sense that the only thing you can really do is change your lock on. Besides that, nothing really gets boosted. You don't get more range, more damage, or anything of that nature. Now, the next thing we're going to be looking at with Chidori, guys, is the fact that when you are charging this move, if you get canceled or if you get hit while you are charging it, your jutsu will not go away. But while you are thrusting forward at your opponent and they hit you with a kunai or something of that nature, your jutsu will be taken away from you at that point. So you definitely want to keep that in mind with Chidori. Now, the next thing we're going to be taking a look at, which probably a lot of people do not know, is the simple fact that Chidori is a comboable move. After you use this move, guys, if you are at the right range from your opponent, as you guys see, you can immediately go into a combo afterwards with Chidori, which is definitely a nice feature, especially something that you would not expect on a range type move, considering this is a range CAC, something that you would expect more of an attack type CAC's move. Now, the next thing we're going to be taking a look at, as you guys see right there, is the AoE of Chidori. The AoE of Chidori really is not great. Again, as you see with those two 11 tails right next to each other, I was only able to hit one, and then all these white Zetsu right next to each other, I was only able to, again, hit one, and that is due to the fact that Chidori is a straight on stab. If they are in a straight line, literally a straight line, yes, you will hit more than one, but if they are not, you are only going to be hitting that one opponent, and that is definitely something to keep in mind as well. Now, those are all the basic things that we're really going to be taking a look at with Chidori, the things we can. Now, if they were ever to add a damage feature, then we could look at some more things, but sadly, they have not. So, moving on to Rasengan, guys, looking at the basic use of Rasengan, how it actually works. As you guys see right there, it literally is very similar to the Chidori, where you just charge it in your palm and then go after your opponent, thrusting forward at them. Now, taking a look at the range of this move, guys, as you see, I feel it is a little bit less range-wise than Chidori, even though they both have a 2 on range. I feel the range of Rasengan is a bit shorter than Chidori is for sure, and again, you could charge this move, and the charging features work exactly the same. The only things you can really do is switch your lock on. The damage or anything of that nature does not actually increase. Now, one feature I want to look at with Rasengan right here that Chidori does not have. As you see, this white Zetsu dashes off to the side, and I track him down and follow him. That is a nice feature of Rasengan. A lot of times, Chidori, again, is just that straight on stab, and it will not track your opponent. So, again, that is a nice feature that Rasengan has that Chidori doesn't. Now, right here, guys, as you see with those two white Zetsu standing right next to each other, I am able to take them both out because Rasengan, unlike Chidori, actually has some AoE to it. Now, the next thing we're going to be taking a look at with Rasengan, guys, is the simple fact that, like Chidori, while you are charging this move, you cannot be taken out of it. But again, as you see, when you are charging forward at your opponent with it and they hit you with something, the jutsu will be taken away from you and completely canceled out after that point. So again, that is definitely another similarity between these two and something to keep in mind between them as well. But when you look at these two moves, guys, as you really saw, I'm sure you guys were, kind of thinking it throughout the video as well, these moves have a lot of similarities between them, even though they are a range type and an attack type. Now, first going over the similarities, because I'm going to break down all the similarities and the differences. Now, we're going to put damage in the category of similarities just due to the simple fact that we really cannot test damage on this game yet until they add an official training mode that shows damage outputs and things of that nature. Now, the basic use of them, how they actually work, they are very similar in that sense to where you charge up your move in your hand and then you thrust forward at your opponent, charging at them and attacking them with a spear type stab. So again, those are very similar in the way they actually work. And then you look at the fact that they don't break guard. Neither of these moves can break guard whether you charge them or not. That is a common similarity between them. Something we really didn't showcase because it's something that you just really want to mention when it comes to these moves. Just keep in mind, again, they cannot break guard when they have full guard. Like now, if they're in the yellow or red range, yes, it'll break through at that point, but anything for the most part can. Now, they are both chargeable, and their charge features are very similar. I mean, they're exactly the same, to be honest. They both cannot get extra damage, extra range, or anything like that. You cannot move while charging them. The only thing that you can do while charging these moves is the simple thing of changing your lock on, which is really not that great at times unless you're waiting on opponents to come to you. Besides that, that charge feature is pretty useless, and I wish they would update it, add damage or something like that, add the ability to break guards, something along those lines should be added with the chargeable features of these moves. Now, the next thing I want to talk about similarity wise is the fact that it will not go away unless you are using the move. Unless you are actually dashing towards your opponent, you will not lose this jutsu if you get stunned. If you are just on activation, like you just literally activated and they stunned you, the jutsu will not go away. Or if you are charging the jutsu and they stun you, the jutsu will not go away when it comes to either of these. So that is definitely another thing to keep in mind about these two moves. Now, getting into the actual differences of the moves, the first thing I want to highlight is the range. The range is not a major difference, but it is a slight difference. Chidori does have a bit more of range than Rasengan does, and that is definitely something to keep in mind, considering the fact that Chidori is a range type move while Rasengan is an attack type. Now, the next thing we're going to be talking about is the AoE. Rasengan actually has some AoE. It'll hit multiple opponents if they are grouped up next to each other, as opposed to Chidori, it'll only hit people that are in a literal straight line. So you want to keep that in mind, guys, when you're using these two moves, because I've literally hit 4 opponents at a time online with a Rasengan when they were all standing next to each other. So again, that is one advantage that Rasengan has over Chidori. The next thing we're going to be talking about is tracking. The Rasengan's tracking is much better than Chidori's as well. Again, Chidori is more of that straight on stab, that straight spear stab, and you're not going to get the greatest tracking from that move. As opposed to Rasengan, you are going to get some very good tracking whether your opponent moves to the left, right, anything like that, as you guys saw with that white Zetsu earlier on. Now, the actual speed of these moves, guys, Chidori is much faster. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but as far as actual speed when you are moving with the move after you launch it, the Chidori is a much faster moving attack. As opposed to Rasengan, it is a bit slower, and you definitely want to know about that and keep that in mind, because Rasengan is going to be a lot easier to see coming, as opposed to Chidori. If they do see it coming, they will not have as much time to react to that move. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about as far as differences go is the combo ability. Rasengan is a move that you really cannot combo into as far as the a combo afterwards. When you use Rasengan, your opponent gets sent flying. They get sent flying. Now, unless you are very close to a wall or something like that, or an area where there's like mountains and things of that nature, then you have a chance of them being knocked off the wall to where you can actually hit go into another combo. But for the most part, again, Rasengan sends your opponents flying to the point where you cannot extend a combo afterwards. And Chidori, as you guys saw earlier, if you are at the right range, you can definitely extend a combo, which is a nice feature again, and one that you do not think or would not think would be there on Chidori's, considering it is a range type move. But those are all the similarities and true differences, guys, between these moves. Let me know which one do you guys like better, not only in the Shinobi Striker, but also when it comes to the anime, guys. Which one of these is your favorite in the anime as well? Let me know that down below in the comments. But for me personally, when it comes to this game, it is very tough for me to choose, but I would probably be going with Rasengan, just for the simple fact that it does have a couple more advantages. It also has the AoE function to it, where you can hit multiple opponents at a time, and it is a better control type of move when you're playing something like base or something like that. Like if I was on a pillar of base by myself, I can send an opponent flying with that Rasengan, as opposed to Chidori. You cannot do that. They will be staying in the same spot where they get hit. So again, Rasengan I feel is a bit better, but it is not by much. Again, these moves are very similar. It kind of comes down to preference. What do you really prefer out of a jutsu at the very end when it comes to tracking, speed, combo ability, things of that nature? So again, that's really what's going to determine it. But let me know down below which one you guys like more. And when it comes to the show, guys, I'm going to have to say regular Chidori is definitely my favorite between the two, just because it looks so much doper as far as regular Chidori against regular Rasengan. But all in all, again, man, let me know your thoughts on the video. Let me know if this helped you guys out in any way down below. And as always, man, thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, as always, hope you have a good day. Peace, y'all.